something, Big Papa?
Not much, yo. Just, still kind of cleaning off the garbage that was this movie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pineapples with Pam. We are your hosts, Pat,
Andrea,
And Mike,
and today we've got a ticket to ride to fucking Moon 44.
Boo!
I will rescind my ticket.
You are welcome.
So today's movie is Moon 44, chosen by Andrea.
You are all very welcome for that.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Moon 44, before we get into a whole lot of talk about it, I do want to say that there are some heavy trigger warnings and content warnings. There is off-camera sexual assault that happens, depictions of PTSD and suicide. So please keep those in mind before you listen to this episode and or before you watch a really terrible movie.
Holy shit, where are we? Prisoners? But you're an ex-fighter pilot. You some kind of tough guy, maybe? Shut up!
So Moon 44, the summary straight from IMDb is an unconventional corporate agent is given the task of shaping a group of violent criminals and tech wizards into a helicopter defense force assigned to protect a mining station on a remote moon.
A helicopter defense force.
That was one of my first notes. Space helicopter?
Hold on. That's the summary? That was him whipping them up into shape?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Yo, if I knew that, I thought the movie was just guy shows up and stuff kind of happens, Stuff kind of happens with a lot of bad, garbagey stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They could have replaced a good 20 to 30 minutes with totally different stuff, and it would have been fine.
Well, I don't think they had the budget because they already were using reshot footage for most of that shit.
I know. We'll get into it. Let's get some trivia about the movie.
How many shots were reused throughout this film?
The director of this movie, did you guys notice who that was?
I didn't look. The director.
Roland Emmerich of Independence Day fame, Day After Tomorrow, 10,000
Wow.
Dude.
Godzilla, Moonfall.
Okay, so it's funny that he was the director because I was looking up. I was like, the only thing about this movie that was like redeeming for me was that the cinematography and the lighting, like aesthetically, was like pretty cool. So I was like, who did the cinematography? And it's the guy that did Independence Day. He did a lot of stuff that I like, actually.
Also, because one of the stars in the movie also worked on Independence Day with these guys as well.
Yeah, so that must have been a lot of like the same people.
They must have been like a group of people that knew.
When did this movie come out?
1990.
So this was before all the other good movies.
Yeah, technically.
Okay, that makes sense.
Before this listed on IMDb, I just didn't pay attention to them.
What a black mark on your filmography. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Damn, Marv.
There will be very few movies that I review as poorly as this one, as a heads up. If you're like thinking as a listener and you're like, he'll have retribution halfway through. You know what I mean? No. No. There is no redeeming. Okay, no. All right. I will discuss things that I technically enjoyed that allowed me to continue watching it.
That's how Tron, it's okay.
And I even tried going in it with like some kind of like, oh yeah, look, obligatory ship flying in through the side shot in the beginning.
Oh my
you know
God.
what I mean?
I was dying over the very obvious ships that were flying around.
But whenever I go back and watch older movies, I try and watch movies with that kind of, like, all right, what's the budget like? What was the time period? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know.
This movie came out, it looks like it came out in the late 70s, early 80s. Okay.
It has a very Aliens vibe.
Yes.
Feel to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
it does.
The trailer, the voiceover in the original trailer stated that the film was the best adventure since the Star Wars trilogy and the most suspenseful journey since Aliens.
Oh my God. That's such a bold claim that was false.
I would have asked for my money back if I was told that. If I was told that, right? And then I saw that movie. You remember when we went to go see Prometheus. Point being, okay, that's another tale for another time. If I was told, yo, this is like the next fucking Star Wars and Aliens combined, right? And then I paid money and walked into that fucking theater and experienced that, I would have walked out and just like smacked whoever the manager was for hosting that film in this theater and asked for my money back.
The little flower on your hand.
Yeah, yes, I would have put. Yeah, I would have put at least a little flower. Oh my god. Yo, anyway, sorry. What was the trivia?
Do you guys want to take a guess at what the budget was for the movie?
$10.
I'm gonna say it's 1990, so like 20 million.
15.
15 million.
I was
okay.
actually gonna say 12. So
Wait.
you know, like as a realistic number, I would have actually imagined 10 to 12 million. That would have gone to shit. You know what I mean?
Here's the second half of that is 15 million. I could not find any information on what the profit was. Moon 44 bears the dubious honor of being one of the most lavish films to ever forfeit theatrical release and go straight to home video's B-movie ghetto.
Wait, why? What happened? Did people go to a premiere and was like dunking on it? Like
it must have been so harsh.
it had to have been like critic, like it went to the Sundance Festival, right? Yeah. And everyone just fucking threw potatoes at them. You know what I mean?
Like you just walked out and fucking powder smacked the fucking manager.
That is so amazing. Okay, that's amazing to hear because that does make me feel better about my feelings about this movie. Because sometimes I feel like I just don't like something and I'm the weird one.
I am even agreeing that bad choice. All right, just a couple of pieces of trivia. So you guys noticed that Malcolm McDowell was in there, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you recognize Brian Thompson?
No.
He was the big bully guy.
Oh, I did recognize him.
Yeah, that's Shao Kahn. It's Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
You should have killed me when you had the chance, brother.
He's also played villains in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed.
Oh, well, I know him. I know him as Shao Kahn, and I was like, yo, motherfucking Kahn. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Moon 44 is the first time that Malcolm McDowell and Brian Thompson appeared together. Their second one together was in Star Trek Generations.
Ooh.
Okay.
Malcolm McDowell also starred with Michael Pare, the main star of this movie, in another film later on, G. Philip Jackson's sci-fi film 2103, The Deadly Wake. That was in 97.
I've recognized the main actor who played the main character's name, who was pretty much just like Maverick, is what I'll call him because it's just.
You mean
I don't even remember his name? Oh my God.
America McMuscles.
Yeah. And I need to the listeners to know, I literally just watched this movie. Okay, I finished this movie an hour before recording this podcast, and I was so uninterested in it that I can't even remember the main character's name. Okay.
Last thing, you recognized Leon Rippey, the commander with the spiky hair?
I recognized him as in, like, why do I know you? But not with that haircut, though, I don't feel like.
Oh, yeah, no, that was a very specific...
No, but he reminds... Yeah, I definitely know him from something.
He was in the Eye of the Storm, Universal Soldier, Stargate, The 13th Floor.
I know him from the Patriot.
Which, you're talking about
Sergeant
Sykes? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I think that there must have been like a bunch of people that worked on this movie because the cinematographer also did the cinematography for Stargate. He did.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy that you're talking about, Sykes, was in that too. So, he was in Alcatraz as well.
I didn't mind some of the casting per se, but obviously, I mean, like, in some of the acting had its moments. I'm not going to necessarily begrudge everything per se, considering it was from 1990. You know what I mean? There are definitely a lot of like horrible tropes. And I wish I can remember some of the one-liners because some of the lines that they gave the black actor in that movie were just so horribly just like, we need a black guy to shout something right now. There he is.
Oh my God.
Well, he was just like, this is a bad trip. That was one of them.
Oh yeah, at the end, yeah, it was very.
And there was another one shortly after, like, what a ride. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we need this black guy to yell something as a quote unquote funny moment right now.
Right.
And also, only the black guy gets given the fucking drugs, and that fucking pisses me off. Sorry for the
Yeah.
language. There's so much bad stigmatism in this movie. I don't know if that was the right way of saying that, but there's so much stuff that's just like racially motivated or like already like so old head bullshit.
I can say that too about all like the sexual assault and everything. You can cut all of those scenes out of the movie and still have that movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they
So,
served no
100%.
purpose.
100%.
child rape in there for no reason. And who I know these dudes are criminals that get there, but they're not fucking morons. They are not gonna go and bully the guys that are supposed to be their navigators when they know they could fucking die.
Yes,
They
yeah.
navigate themselves. The most asinine thing. Make that guy do that to his navigator.
Yeah.
And you think that kid's not gonna go kill you now?
I thought Tyler was going to actually do something most of the times when he did nothing.
I was really angry at that kid. Like,
if you think about it, that movie was a lot of him being like, I'm going to do something. Hey, yo, Cookie, go give this guy some drugs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, man, I'm going to do something. And then like the person who was already suffering the trauma is the one who did it. Like
Right.
Tyler didn't do shit, even though he was like the ultimate keyboard warrior. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. This is my movie and I picked it, and I have like very few things in my little favorites column and very few things in my like usually I have copious notes on my favorite pieces of dialogue and scenes.
Mhm.
One of the few pieces of dialogue I liked came from the chick at spiky haired officer guy.
Yes.
And she's like, if you're such a great leader of men, how come you're not an officer?
Yeah, what happened to your career?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope.
That was like one of the few good lines.
It was. Honestly, when the movie started, I was kind of like really into it. I was like, okay.
Oh yeah.
I was like, the acting is bad, but
Yeah.
like visually it's cool. I like that everything felt, like you said, Andrea, very alien. It felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the OG Alien, like everything was like kind of that gritty, grimy, shitty technology that like works but not really
Right.
well.
It reminded me also of like the Terminator, the early Terminator films, even though I know this is in space and everything, but like the cinematography had that same feel.
It did.
Yeah.
That kind of like really hard lighting, but also there is still like a lot of like atmospheric kind of ambient lighting as well. That's how I would think of it kind of being similar. But it so quickly takes a left turn into being a pile of shit. When you texted me, I was like, I already got mad notes on this, right? I was like 15 minutes in.
Where was your first left in this maze of garbage?
This labyrinthian trash
Yeah.
pile.
And where was your first left in the labyrinth of fucking horrible bullshit? Okay.
All right. So okay. Look, up to note 10. All right. So I have 7, 8, 9 are like the protagonist. I literally put America McMuscles. Right. Note 8 was like that he was cultured, ethical, but gullible because they're dangling his freedom. Okay, because they were like trying to give him some sort of like depth, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that he was smoking cigarettes a lot. So I was like, this is when cigarettes were still cool. And then as soon as they get to the mining colony, there's like just horrible ADR. I hate that, but it's a symptom of like those 80s. And then immediately everything that follows from that scene on, when Sykes is like yelling at everyone, which I gotta say, that was pretty funny when he first shows up and he's yelling. That scene was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Oh my! Can we talk about? Oh my God! So Dion did not really watch this movie with me at all, but every time he sat down, it seemed like the guy was getting into the helicopter and lighting a cigarette in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Dion lost his shit. What the f- is he doing with a cigarette in the cockpit?
What do you think this is, a limo?
That man smoked a pack of cigarettes on screen in the cockpit of that
He had to have.
Yeah.
helicopter.
No, oh my God. Well, all right. So, yeah. So, where was your first left turn still? I think you were telling us some of the other shenanigans. Where did it actually go wrong for you initially?
It's like literally right after that scene.
Landing at the colony, because that's pretty much where it did it for me.
Yep.
It arrived, I was like, wait, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
This is not as cool as my 15-year-old brain told me it was.
Yeah.
I see. Actually, that was one of my notes, was that I can see why this would have been like a smash hit for kids. it kind of like hits the right sort of like tropey cliche notes where it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be cheering at this part and you're supposed to be excited for the hero at this part. But like as an adult who's like critically thinking about this, there's no cohesion whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're jumping from scene to scene. Nothing fucking makes sense. The editing for this movie is atrocious.
Oh my God.
It's so bad.
Most of my shots at this movie are to kill. I will at least point out the things that I did enjoy about the movie. That I can't even say enjoyed. Okay, things that I thought were right. And one of them is this. I like aircraft and shit, right? Airplanes and all that kind of shit. So I enjoyed the air combat scenes. I actually thought, considering the time period, that the way that they handled maneuvering over terrain with whatever they were using looked pretty good. You know what I mean?
It just looked like such a remote-controlled helicopter to me. I couldn't.
When you're dealing with those kinds of looks, I mean, that's like, getting mad at the way that Star Wars looked too. It's almost that similar visual effects style.
But I'm not.
Right?
Star Wars pulled it off better.
Oh, I 100% agree. Of course, that's why I almost was surprised that this movie came out in 1990.
Yeah,
right? Because again, like I said, it felt like it came out a decade earlier, right?
Yeah, like 85.
Yeah, I would even say a little bit earlier, but yeah, point being that it definitely did not seem like a modern movie for its year, right? In my opinion.
Agreed.
I enjoyed Cookie.
Sad little backstory.
Which, look, I fucking hated what they did to him.
Oh,
yeah.
His last line. Oh God, who needs this shit? After he got impaled.
Well, no, because I thought he had a couple lines more of like, let's party or whatever. Like, here's the thing. I totally, of course, identified with his backstory, but what pissed me off is how abruptly it came through, right? Who he's doing it to.
Yeah, the unconscious dude.
The unconscious dude that he drugged. You know what I mean? That wasn't even like malicious on his part to the other guy, right? It should have been something that he had with his pilot. I loved what he was supposed to represent, of course. Hated how they handled it. I hated the way that they just fucking kill him off. And there was something that really bothered me about this like subtone about how, so he was like talking about how like, everyone loved him after he started, selling his stuff and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was something like, yeah, it was pretty cool or whatever. Like, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
And all those feelings to me got flushed down the fucking toilet. Cookie was like, well, I guess I'm his navigator because he's been my pilot. Yeah. And they just go, okay, cool. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, what?
Tried to say one word. No, dude, you don't have to. Nothing.
No replacement for all of the people who like maybe he could have actually had a positive impact on, right? Kind of thing. Like, hey man, I always appreciated you even though you were kind of weird, you know what I mean? And like, because of the drugs, I understood that you were a lonely kid type shit, right? Let me take your place. Nah, you deserve to have a second chance to actually live your life as someone who, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They literally had him tell that story the scene before just so that when they killed him, it was like kind of like tugged on your heartstrings a little bit. It was bullshit.
Of course, it was pulled off so poorly that the opposite happened. It doesn't tug on my heartstrings. What makes me mad is the fact that they even now did it because it completely disregards what that character stands for. It's like, oh, you mean that the person who was ignored and bullied in their life, who turned to drugs and like posed for attention and all that shit, you mean that he's going to continue potentially posing for attention to his fucking grave because you're not going to give him any sort of redemption arc?
Yeah.
The only character that had a good character arc, plot line, was the fucking bully, man. He had the best.
Yes, he's like, I read a book. I'm not mean anymore.
I read it already. When that fucking Dead Poet Society bullshit came through, like in this movie, he's like, oh yeah, you want to? I read it already. And then they like look at each other, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm no longer the thug. I can actually read type shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
If I watched this movie without seeing the opening credits and knowing nothing about the film, I would have thought that the bully was the main character.
Dude, he did have more depth than America McMuscles.
Yeah.
America McMuscles literally could have been a cardboard cutout and the movie would have been the same.
Yes.
Don't know shit about America McMuscles. We
Yeah,
know nothing about his.
No, we know that he's tired of working for the government.
that's
Yeah,
it.
we know that
That's
he's
it.
partial and that he's tired of working for the government, and that's that.
That's it. I think he's actually single because at the end apparently he's digging chick face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no news of his romance life. We don't know if he's got anyone waiting for him. Clearly
Nothing
not.
about his motivations in life and what would make him want to go out there and help these people. And as a matter of fact, he makes it plain while he's there that he doesn't want to help any of them. And the kid that's the whistleblower, Tyler, apply for a new job, bro.
He's
Sorry.
like, I'm totally in a position to help you, but I don't really care
Yeah. You know what the most heinous crime of this movie is?
that it was released to the public.
That it was.
But it wasn't. It went straight to home
It
video.
went straight to TV. Yeah. Well, no, that means that there are physical copies that exist. Okay, this is like
Somebody
It is
has
like
a
E.T.
DVD of this movie.
Oh
this
my
is like the
God.
burying the ET type video game type shit. We need to go find all these and bury them in the desert and make sure no one ever experiences this ever again. No, the most heinous crime of this movie, in my opinion, is that they took such a good concept and moment of the empty clip that you pull the trigger on, and it's wasted in this garbage movie. Okay? Because at the end, when he goes to fucking like just clicks it at the end and he has his smirk. Well, first off, okay, that whole part is just so ridiculous. He does that whole dramatic thing and then just like walks away
And
and
then
they're
just
like, where you
leaves.
going?
Oh,
And he just leans back into frame. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
just leans back in. I guess I don't have a job anymore, right? You know what I mean? And just like
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
walks away. I mean, this is the shittiest comedy I've ever seen.
Oh my God. I don't even think it came across as comedy to me. But my last comment about, well, maybe not my last, I don't know about you guys, but the last thing that I personally want to bring up, why are the 80s and 90s so sweaty?
Dude, everyone was
Sweating.
sweating the entire movie.
Like so profusely.
Yes.
Like I don't remember the people on the ship in Aliens sweating that much.
Sigourney Weaver at the end, that's about it.
She was, maybe a touch winded at the end. Oh my God, so much sweat.
Yeah, that is so funny that I didn't even think about that.
Something that we touched on earlier that I do want to bring back up. I think tonally, this movie was really fucking confused about what it was, what it wanted to be. Like,
Yeah.
it had this sort of, I would say, almost like Goonies-esque young teen kind of like
Yeah,
feel to
they
the
all-
characters, but then
Why-
like it tried to be like really dark and serious too at the same time. The sexual assault thing was handled so poorly.
So poorly.
It was so fucking just, it was just too serious for the rest of the movie. Like tonally way too serious.
Who the fuck is the audience for this movie?
Right.
Exactly. It didn't know who it was marketing itself to.
That scene making jokes at this movie's expense. I do want to touch on how seriously mad I am at how they handled those kinds of subjects. I don't think prison rape or rape of any kind. Of course, rape of any kind has never been funny, but you know how like even they try to don't drop the soap. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Kind of
Yeah.
bullshit.
I mean,
Right.
those were all obviously teenagers.
Everything about that whole setup was wrong.
It was gross. Yeah, it was gross.
The whole
Yeah.
setup was gross. You even had an opportunity to stop it when you had the black character there, and of course he's not even named in the movie,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I keep on calling him the black character, listeners. I'm not just trying to be, microaggression here, where it's like, yeah, the black guy too, right? They literally don't even name the other characters, right?
No.
Unnamed black guy number one just literally goes like, nah, man, leave him alone. Nah, man, leave him alone, right? Kind of thing. And then that's it. And the whole thing is just super uncomfortable and out of place. And then, of course, the whole traumatic recovery scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I don't know, everything about it. Everything about it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because, again, I'm not trying to, put out trigger warnings for any listeners out there. I'll just try and, touch on it enough to make them understand that this movie is already garbage enough. You certainly don't need to see it, especially considering that scene is in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Agreed.
that those scenes, because again, the way that they handle everything,
Like the aftermath and
Yeah.
I don't know what the director was like, and then he's gonna get retribution and kill him, but
yeah.
then he's gonna hang himself. It's like,
Because they threw him in prison for protecting himself.
right, like, so it's a mining colony. When did this become? It literally is treated like a prison. I thought that they were in prison at one point.
Regular people will not pilot for them anymore because of how highly dangerous it is. So they had to import prisoners because, of course, prisoners, you can make them to do whatever you want.
You're
Of
right.
course, no, I definitely get that aspect of it. Sure.
Yeah, that was the whole premise of the prison going there because nobody else would. So they shipped the prisoners in with that America McMuscles guy.
Right. Yeah, I get that story beat part. I guess what I was trying to get at was like the whole way of like how they set up that whole scene. Yes, they're prisoners.
Yeah.
Yes, they're obviously, they're gonna do fucked up shit. They can be. Here's the thing about criminals. If you want to be a shitty director and stigmatize criminals even more, as
Yeah.
this movie fucking does,
Yeah.
and if my positions aren't clear enough, I'm very anti-prison system. So this movie touches on everything that I already don't like.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
And so like the way it just treats criminals like fucking idiots.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they're portrayed as
Of
being.
course they're idiots. Of course they can't fucking read. Why would one want to read? You know what I
Right.
mean? This absolute nature of just dehumanizing and lowering these people to a whole different level, right? And then, of course, out of all of them, you gotta throw a rapist in there,
Yeah.
right? Because when we're gonna have humor in this movie, you gotta have teenage rape. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it just is so off-putting in so many ways. And so I didn't mean to have go on such a high horse rant about that kind of shit. Right?
No, I mean, like,
No, it is well deserved. The main character is not even likable.
And that's the thing, is that like nothing gets done by the main characters to resolve anything.
he literally
Yeah.
does nothing. He does nothing.
No one does anything, and both of them die.
So this actually leads me to a very interesting question, and I don't know if I just missed it, or am I an idiot, or does anybody even know who the bad guys were?
Supposedly the bad guys were the pirates from whatever that giant ship that you could see. Those pirates sent the robot. They never show you who the pirates are. They never show you what their motivations are.
Exactly.
They
Yeah,
never
that's
really explain to you why they are against. This is more kind of like, this film is kind of like an 80s version of like big oil propaganda, I guess, because that's basically what they're trying to protect is big oil interests.
this movie definitely felt, it read to me as like capitalist propaganda.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which actually ties into what you were literally just ranting about, Mike.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so true. I mean, it is really all 100% in there. I didn't even think about the elements that you were talking about, and those were just firing off in my brain as you guys were talking. So that's just like, but yes, 100%. I mean, yeah, the whole movie's a mess.
like, how did they get Malcolm McDowell on board for this movie? I think of Malcolm McDowell in my head as like I think of him as like a respectable actor. He does good movies. What the fuck was he thinking?
I mean,
Well, here's the thing that's confusing me now. Malcolm McDowell's character, the warden, essentially, of the fucking ship, he's even treated like a warden. I literally thought they were on a prison. He's literally treated like a warden.
No,
you know
he's
what I mean?
he's a major. He's a major.
Oh, he's a major. Okay.
everybody sucks here is the theme of this movie.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. So he is working with the pirates.
Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
yes, he is.
But
So how is this robot ship going and destroying the thing? Like I thought the robots were an external threat.
I thought that the pirates were sending the robot.
They were. I'm pretty sure they were. Yeah.
The pirates were sending the robots. Okay. Because then again, why would you send the robots to destroy the person who's giving you?
Well, he was trying to escape.
But we literally never see
Oh no, that's right. You're right. He was trying to escape with all of them, and then have the robot army come in and sweep through.
Yes, I
But
think
we
so.
only know that because of a phone call or something, right? We never actually see the quote unquote bad guys.
Correct. Yeah, you don't. You don't even see like a conversation really with like you don't know anything about them at all
Yeah.
other than there's some dudes that have attacked other mining colonies to steal their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See it happening. We never see it in progress. We never
And the corporations win.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That this is capitalist propaganda, bro.
Yo. And literally the corporations get everything.
Yeah.
Fucking Maverick couldn't even fucking have the balls to blow up the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
He's snarky about it. You know what? I rescind my comments about how cool the no ammo thing was. He should have blown that shit the fuck up, right? You know what he should? Yeah, it should have been like, click. No, just kidding. Boom, motherfucker. Yeah, fuck y'all. Okay, fuck your corporate interest bullshit. Oh my god.
The more you think about it, the more the movie sucks.
Yo.
The bigger the labyrinthian trash pile becomes.
Now, again, I know that technically the reason why this movie came to be watched on this podcast is because Andrea did previously, watched it, decades ago, remembered liking it kind of at the time, right?
Yeah.
And decided to throw it in the bucket, and then Lottie fucking da, here we are, right? But this should be known that this is not normally what we watch. Okay?
Hey, listen. There is absolutely 1000% going to be a lot more schlock on this show.
Oh, I bet.
Look, hey, I'm happy to have watched this movie. Honestly, even though I fucking damn near hated everything about it, I'm happy to have watched it because I don't want to just, always be ranting about how awesome a movie is that I saw. I want to have this conversation. There's a lot of really bad movies out there. We should talk about them.
You want to know why I'm happy that we watched this? Because I know without a doubt, I am absolutely going to fucking love even extra now because of this horrible piece of shit. The next movie we watch.
Any palate cleanser is gonna be so much fucking better than it would have been normally.
Yep. If it's served for nothing, it fucking starts to make me appreciate everything else we're gonna.
It's like it's the rain to the sunshine. You can't appreciate the good without some of the bad.
Yeah. Yo, I just think about that quote that I fucking got that other day, Pat. Remember?
That your mom's in the card. Yes.
Yeah, yo, that shit was flames, yo.
It directly applies to watching this movie.
Yes.
What happened?
All right, so I'm not gonna go hunt it down now, but it was just out, so I'll have to hopefully quote it as accurately as possible. But it's probably gonna be a paraphrase. But it is clouds cover my skies, not bringing rain nor storm, but to add color to my sunset sky.
Oh.
This was the clouds.
Everything else is gonna be peaches and rainbows.
I've gotten all of my gripes with this movie out of the way, and I've said the only good things that I felt about it. I mean, does anybody else have anything to add? Because if not, I'm ready to rate this one and throw it in the fucking garbage.
Yeah, I honestly think I complained enough about it. I think the movie's fucking garbage. Okay.
So much sweat.
Sorry to all the crew members that had to work on this to maybe get by in life.
Nothing necessarily against the human beings that had to partake on it. Look, you got to make that paper, boo boo. I ain't got no hate on making that bread, but just know it was not great.
We hate your creation, and we kind of wish that it didn't exist.
Good on you.
So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10 pineapples because I did legitimately like the cinematography and the sets. I think were well built. So I give it a 3 out of 10 for the art department.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10, mostly due to nostalgia. And also because I missed the period when I didn't remember what this movie was about.
So, I kind of want to say the same. I really wanted to give it a 2, but I guess, yes, technically there are certain visual aspects. And in solidarity with the labor crew that
Yo,
made those sets. Okay.
that's what's up.
In solidarity with my labor people, I will raise it from a 2 to a 3 for your hard work
Yeah.
on this fucking trash bag. Okay. So 3 out of 10 pineapples. I would have given it 2, but yes, there was definitely some great set work on there, and definitely some good work that is done not by the bad movie itself per se, but you know what I mean. But they're done by hardworking people. So 3 out of 10 pineapples.
You heard it here, folks. Mike gives it a 15 out of 10 pineapples, and it's his
Yeah,
favorite movie that we've covered so far.
this is it.
It's 10 out of 10.
This is the golden pineapple. We've heard it now.
Golden
Pineapple. That's it. Anything that's better than a 10 out of 10 that gets the golden pineapple.
All right.
So what's
yeah.
our movie for next week, Mike?
So next week, I am absolutely having to give us now another one of my personal favorite movies, especially to, put some good taste in our mouths from this last pineapple. The next pineapple is going to be Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
We love some
I love
Douglas
this
Adams.
movie. I love this movie very much. I love the book series and everything. I'm going to be getting very nerdy
Fuck
next week. Yeah, I even have Douglas Adams' other works. Like, I have the comic book that they did for Dirk Gently. I have all the Dirk Gently novels too. I think Douglas Adams is the man. I love Hitchhiker's Guide. It's going down. Okay.
Nice.
Going down. All right. Thanks for listening to us rant about how this movie sucked ass. We are your hosts, Pat.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Mike, and we'll see you next week for a much more digestible pineapple.